like realistically, I would never do it. But then also I wonder, like, how fast would I die if I did it?
Only one way to figure it out.
That's the thing, bro. I want somebody. I don't know if I can say that. Somebody who's on their way out anyway.
Nope.
Just take one for the team. I'm curious and I need to know.
Okay. You're drifting away from what this episode was supposed to be.
Well,
I don't know who my number one gonna be, bro.
Will Anderson.
I cannot listen to me. I cannot wait until he's in the league.
It's sad that he has a whole another year of eligibility, but in all the film I'm watching, like, Will Anderson's better than you, and you, and you, and you, and he has to play college football another year.
And again, Dallas, number 15, keep your eyes on him. That guy, I remember watching, was it the SEC championship, I think? I think it was the SEC championship, and I text you, like, who is that? And you're like, oh, he's a freshman. I said, bro, this is crazy. That guy, he gonna be something serious.
Will Anderson had like a similar year to
freshman year.
Like, he also made the same kind of plays his freshman year that Dallas Turner made last year. So if that's any kind of indication, if we've got somebody who is, you take Will Anderson's freshman year, similar to Dallas Turner's year, and then the year Will Anderson had last year, if Dallas Turner has that this year, plus Will Anderson is still there,
man,
that might not be too good.
Where are they height wise? Because Dallas looks taller and longer for some reason on film.
I honestly don't know. I don't measure height. I measure size and girth, and they're both top in the charts.
I think you're gay.
For them, yeah.
For them?
For them,
I'm
yeah.
looking it up now because Will Anderson, I'm telling you right now, they're going to move no linebacker.
Well, he's a linebacker. He's outside linebacker.
Right. But Dallas has his hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
Will's 6'4".
Yeah, I'm about to say 6'4", like what, 230?
He is 235. You know your players.
I mean, I'm an Alabama fan, so.
Same height. Interesting.
What's Dallas Turner's weight?
For some reason, it's not showing the weight, but let me go to one of these websites.
Strange.
Right. It was 19, bro. Bama's not fair. 245. So he's slightly big. I mean, 10 pounds of muscle, you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
10 pounds just in general, you can't tell the difference. But 10 pounds of muscle is different on tape. Yeah, I just knew I thought he was longer. He might have a longer wingspan. I'm not going to look all that up, but that kid, bro, oh my God, I can't wait to see these guys in the NFL. Like, one of my favorite pass rushers is Myles Garrett. I respect people that can come off of, if you're looking at the defense, the right side, which is off the left tackle, Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, those guys. I respect that side a little bit more. You know, no disrespect to anybody else. But the left tackle's like, that's usually your best lineman outside of the center. And they're usually pass protected. And so to pass rush off of that side is a little bit more difficult. And seeing Dallas just handle people, and he's quick, man. Like, oh, man, I cannot wait. I'm going to watch more of you guys this season just because of him. Hey, I love Will, too. Don't get me wrong. But Jesus. And I'm a big fan of Bryce Young, man. Very big fan. And he makes never mind. Anyway, very big fan.
You don't got to tell me, bro.
Today, we wanted to go ahead and cover the defensive line. And this is really going to turn into the top 5 edge guys. We might throw a defensive tackle in there. There's some good guys. I know there's a lot of you who are big fans of Jordan Davis. I think he's really good. But John's got a couple of statistics to share on him. So we'll talk about him a little bit later. But most of these edge guys are really phenomenal. Not as good as the linebacker class, but a couple of, like, 3 of my top 10 are going to be impact guys day one. And I'm pretty sure 3 of my top 5 are going to go day one. And so we'll see what you got. You want to go first? You want me to go first? How do you want to do it, man?
You can go first. I think I went first last time.
Okay, I'm going to go first. And this will be a quicker episode because we're only covering, again, defensive line. Next episode is going to be we're going to have a lot of different guys at receiver and DB, man, because that's just that skill position that you just kind of like what you like. You know what I mean? And so you pick that based on the schemes that you like to see the most. So I'm very excited for that episode. Let's get to it. My top 5, starting at number 5. I'm going to go ahead and give an honorable mention to my boy in Georgia, Trayvon Walker, coming in at 6'5", 275 pounds. You know, he had a 4.51 in the 40, which is crazy, and it shows on film. Let me tell you. But what I like about Trayvon is he's technically an edge, but he can also drop back in coverage. If you watch some of his film, he drops back in coverage. He's really good in his zone. He's got good eyes. He batted a few passes down. It's pretty good. And he's probably outside of Kayvon and Drake Jackson. Out of Kayvon Thibodeau and Drake Jackson, I think Trayvon is probably the best athlete of these guys that I'm going to mention. But again, honorable mention. Stats don't really tell the story because his stats aren't that great, in my opinion. I think he only had like 5 or 6 sacks and like 36 total tackles.
It's hard to get your shine on Georgia's defense.
And that's the thing. Like, if you think about it, with covering linebackers, and then this today, we mentioned 3 different Georgia linebackers already. And now we're mentioning an edge guy, and then we talked about Jordan Davis. So on that defense, you really got to have a good eye to understand who's really productive and who's causing the plays to happen. And so that's why I like him. You know, he doesn't have the stats behind it, but if you look at his film, the guy's going to make an impact wherever he goes. Probably a day 2 guy, though, day 3. He'll probably be a day 2 guy. He'll definitely go 2nd or 3rd round. I don't see him making it past that. So coming in at number 5 is going to be, for me, let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. George Carloftus from Purdue, 6'4", 275 pounds. That guy is thick. No homo. That's a big boy. And it shows on film. He's a very my scouting report, the sum of it is that he's a very good football player. Like, he's just a solid football player. He doesn't do anything just extremely well. He's no specialist by any means, but he plays the game. You know, he's a good, solid guy that can be a good piece to a team. Like, if you look at the Bengals, you know, when you look at their 2 pass rushers, who are the outside guys? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson.
Hubbard and Hendrickson. Guys who aren't necessarily A-list pass rushers. They're not A-list stars in the league. I'm not saying he can just be them, but he has potential to be that a couple of years into the league, where they're very effective, clearly. He's just got to get in the system and kind of learn how they play, because he looked really good at Purdue, man. But he's definitely a second-day guy, in my opinion. I think he'll go 3rd round. He's got a very good physical presence, you know, very solid tackler, but ran a 4.77 on the 40 time. I think he's the slowest defensive lineman I'll talk about today outside of Jordan Davis. So that is going to be coming in on my number 5 is George Karlaftis. Again, 6'4", not that tall, coming off the edge. So I just kind of have some reservations there, but just a solid player, man. Coming in at number 4. Now, hear me out. This is going to sound super crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and put Aiden Hutchinson at number 4. Most people are going to have him. Go ahead.
I don't want to hold you.
Most people have him at number 1 or 2. I think he's a very good player, but to me, how do I put this? This is going to sound counterintuitive, but he reminds me of J.J. Watt, not in terms of skill, but he's just never going to give up on the play. That's why I have him at number 4, because a lot of what he does is because he just does not stop. His motor, like the whole play, he's just playing the whole play. I don't want to drive that home too much, but that's what I saw. He's got good hands, not too quick, but he just kind of plays angry. He's got power. He's got length. He's got a good long arm. He's a bull rush kind of guy, like a power move. There's no finesse about him. He doesn't really have a juke. He doesn't have like a hop step. He's just a strong, long arm guy, 6'6", 265 pounds out of Michigan. And, he ran a 4.74 on the 40. So again, not the quickest guy, not the fastest guy. He's not going to chase you down, but he is just relentless in terms of effort, which you want that type of guy on your defense. And yes, he's going to be a day one guy. So him coming in at number 4, being a day one guy, I know that doesn't make sense, but I don't think he'll be like a Nick Bosa or anything like that. I think that he'll be a B-list pass rusher. He'll come in, probably get upwards 7 to 8 sacks year one, depending on the team. If he's going to go to the Dolphins, he's going to have a good time because he's got Jalen Phillips on the other side of him. So,
Dolphins ain't got no picks for real left in this trash.
They ain't getting them in the. He's going to go day one, so they're not getting them. But you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If he ends up on a good team, I don't want people to come back to this episode and like, oh, you said all you get is 6 or 7 sacks in year one. It's like, well, he can get 8, 9, or 10. Not 10. He's not going to get 10, but he can get 8 or 9 on a very good team. I just don't know where he's going to go. But again, that the fact that I'm saying that, as good as he is, he's going to need other people around him to make the plays that he makes.
Yeah, success as a defensive lineman kind of depends on the team around you and the scheme that you're in.
For the most part. Unless you're like my number 3 guy, who is Drake Jackson, who doesn't care anything about that. Drake Jackson out of USC. He's 6'4", 250. Not the tallest guy, but bro, if you haven't seen him, he is wow. This guy is an amazing athlete, very smart player. He ran a 4.51, which is faster than some receivers that we're going to name on the next episode. And it shows up on film. If y'all don't know Drake Jackson, he's not talked about on ESPN too much. They've mentioned him in a couple of different areas. Go watch his tape. I promise you won't be disappointed. The guy's a beast, and I think he may not go day one, which is sad. He's going to go day 2, and he's going to be one of those guys that in 2 or 3 years, people are going to look back like, why was he not a top 15, top 20 pick? I'm willing to put money on it. I'm behind this guy. Coming out of USC, man. He looks really, really good. He's, like I said, a smart player. He uses his eyes well. And his spin move, like, I'm telling you, just check him out, bro. His spin move is crazy. Actually, out of all the film, I think he's the only one that used the spin move. Aiden would try and do a little bit, but the quickness on this guy, he's got like a juke. He's got a very good first step. He's one of the most slept on linemen in this draft. And he's got a very physical take. Like in terms of open field tackling, he's beyond. It's crazy that he's not being talked about so much. He reminds me of a little bit of Brian Burns, but he's just way more physical. So Drake Jackson's going to come in at number 3. I really like that guy. Somebody's going to get him on discount, dude. And the next 2 guys are probably going to go top 10, top 15. Coming in on number 2, I've got Jermaine Johnson, 6'5", 262 pounds, out of Florida State. I don't see this guy putting his hands in the dirt a lot. I see him in an outside linebacker position, and that's fine. He'll be able to hold himself there, being 6'5". He'll be able to drop in coverage. I see him being more of a TJ Watt, sorry. A TJ Watt type of guy where he's going to play edge. He's going to rush the passer, but he's going to be more of a free rusher, linebacker type of guy because he's just so quick. He had a 4.58 on the 40. Great tape, great athlete. What I like about him, and I'm obsessed with Michael Strahan and pretty much every great pass rusher ever, but he's got that hop step that Aaron Donald got from Michael Strahan. He does that kind of hop, and then he sweeps their hands, and he's just passed them already. He's got that acceleration. But what I love about him and why he's number 2 is that he's just a big-time playmaker. I don't think he needs a great defensive line or a lot of openings to make the plays that he makes. He's just always on the ball, seems like. And he knows how to strip. He's just a smart player in the situation. You know what I'm saying? He shows up when it's clutch time. That's a lot to say for Florida State. I get it. There's never clutch time with them. But even the games against Clemson and stuff like that, he just made some big plays, dude. And I can ride with that. So I really like Jermaine Johnson at number 2. And then obviously number 1, Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. You can feel any way you want. He's coming out of Oregon 6'5", 258 pounds. This guy's Von Miller 2.0, in my opinion.
There's nothing in his brain.
Maybe not, but there's nothing in Reuben Foster's brain, and you like him.
But Reuben Foster keeps his mouth shut.
Not he does. He also keeps his fists shut too.
That's fine. Bro, Kayvon went on some live stream during the championship game and was like, yeah, I didn't want to be there. I wanted to go to Oregon so I could have a job anytime I want. You want to work for Nike? Like that's your fallback. I don't want to play in the national championship game because I want to be able to work at Nike one day when my time comes or I can't play football anymore. I want a guaranteed job at Nike.
Well, we can't control how our parents raise us, right? He's still like 20 years old, bro. So I'm not going. This is not top brains in the draft. This is just tape, what I think they can do in the NFL. And I heard his interviews weren't good.
Really? All those rocks in his head? You thought that they were going to just morph into a brain and he was going to be able to like have an eloquent conversation with the NFL team?
Right.
No.
I mean, yeah, they were saying there was some stuff going on. Nothing crazy, because we've heard of guys that say some crazy stuff. I mean, didn't Reuben Foster like show up late to his interview and then it was like something crazy going on? The guy was a nut. Look up the story. I forgot his interview. Combine story, but something happened.
Something happened with him and Matt Wilson, but I'm not. They're playing linebacker, middle linebacker. So like, I don't need you to be smart. I just need you to kill everybody. And they.
Right. I want my middle linebackers to be smart. That's what I want, because that's Ray Lewis and Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner.
Well, I like a 3-4. I want one smart one, and then I want one felon.
I mean, what type of felony are we talking here? Like violent, sexual?
The whole kit and caboodle, bro.
The whole ball of wax?
The whole ball of wax.
So Kayvon Thibodeau is still going to be my number one. Yes, he is a little wacky in the head, a little cuckoo. But he's got crazy good bend, man, in terms of getting around the line, bending low. His hand placements are amazing. His tackling is great. His quickness and hands are going to be his biggest assets. He's just good at the game of football, and he's got the best tape out there. He's a beast in every area.
I'm glad he's good. I'm glad he's good at the game of football, because if he wasn't, life would be pretty tough for him. Might
be. But I see him landing in a good place, because if he ends up in New York or one of those other top 5 guys like the Jets, he's going to do some damage. I mean, seriously. And by New York, I said New York twice, basically, but I meant the Giants or the Jets or one of those guys. I don't see the Panthers going after him or anything like that with their situation. It's very hard to do a mock draft. We have had people ask us to do one for the show, but to be honest with you, with what the top lottery teams need, it is going to be so hard to predict what they're actually going to go after. And I know that's not what mock drafts are about, but again, this is a different type of draft, different field where we're not too worried about quarterbacks. I mean, they're talking about a quarterback might not even go top 10. And so us doing a mock draft, yeah, it could be entertaining, but I don't think it'll be accurate, man. And I don't want to do that to you guys. So that is going to be my top 5. Let me round it out for you. No, Jordan Davis did not make it. Sorry, I did not mention him, coming out of Georgia. I think the guy's good, but I think he's one of those guys that, what's the guy's name that used to play for the Vikings? Is it Sharif
Floyd?
Yeah, where he was a big-time prospect coming out and just never really – do I have the right guy there? Or is it the guy that went to Seattle for a while later in his career, and then he went back to – he came from Minnesota. It wasn't Ratliff. Who? Don't worry about it.
I'm blanking, bro. I don't keep up with the Vikings. They suck for so long.
Mm-hmm. It's pissing me off because we both know who this is.
We'll figure it out.
And what's sad is I can't look him up because I don't know where he is.
Sheldon Rankin?
Boom. Thank you. God dang it. So he could be a Sheldon Rankins where he's really good in college. And we saw what Georgia had. When you look at Quay Walker, Trayvon Walker, and you look at Kobe Dean and my other man, what's his name? The other linebacker that I like a lot, which I should know his name.
Quay Walker and Kobe Dean.
Trayvon Walker. I'm going to it now. I don't know why my brain is doing this, bro.
Number 41?
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting his name. I forgot his name last episode too. But he's number 41. I know he's talking about. I don't know his name.
He didn't make my top 5, so I didn't write his stuff down. My brain, I must be tired, bro. But anyway, like I was saying, Georgia has a lot going on defense. They had a lot of great defenders in terms of the front seven. And from Jordan Davis's tape, from what I've seen, a lot of his plays were like cleanup from what the pass rush was already doing. He had a few great plays in terms of run defense, and he can be a little explosive at 345 pounds, which is a good sign. But like you were saying, he didn't play that many snaps last year. Like, what was that about? Like 34 snaps a game? What'd you research?
It was some stat I saw a while back. Since their defense was just so efficient at getting people off the field, like they were 3 and out, and then they were predominantly a play action, run first offense. So they ate up a lot of time on the clock too. So you take into consideration they got the ball a long time. They get the offense off the field very fast. He would average out not very many snaps a game. So if you look at it in the national or the SEC title game, where Alabama did stay on the field and they just ran away from him, they made him go sideline to sideline. They wore his ass out. And then you see plays later in that game, Jordan Davis literally just like puts his hand on the guy and just like takes the play off because he's that fucking tired.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, knowing that and just watching his film, studying him, I think he's a good defensive tackle. I'm not going to take that from him. But I think that if he – go ahead.
The way the NFL is evolving into a more pass-heavy league, you don't need that 350-pound nose tackle that's going to plug the holes. I mean, in certain situations, yes, sure. But honestly, I just don't see a whole lot of value in that big nose tackle nowadays just because you can run away from them and just pass the ball. Because he's not a great pass rusher. He's a run stuffer. He's not going to get to the quarterback a lot because he's just not built that way.
That was the point I was making because in the pass rush, like I said, he played cleanup. And no defensive tackles don't need to be pass rushers. I'm not saying that, hold your horses. But he did make good plays in the run defense. I like that. But again, look, we were saying this before the call. Excuse me. We were saying this before we hopped on to record that, coming in at 345 pounds is for a defensive tackle these days, to me, that's way too heavy. The best defensive tackle in the game right now is 284 pounds in Aaron Donald. I told you he might be around 290, but I just looked it up. He's 284. And he's your height. I get it. So he's packing a lot of muscle. But at the end of the day, Aaron Donald can play pretty much every down because he's in shape. And that's where we're at. The league's a little bit faster, pass heavy. You see the receivers that are getting drafted these days. You see the quarterbacks and the systems that we're in. Being a 345-pound defensive tackle 10, 20 years ago was perfect. Now you are slowing up everything that we're trying to do. So with that said, I hope I don't eat my words, but I don't see Jordan Davis doing too well. He had the impressive 40 time and everybody lost their minds. But I think a team that takes him day one might be very disappointed because he's not going to make a change.
Yeah. I've never been impressed by him. He won one award over Will Anderson, which I think he won like the Nagurski Award over Will Anderson, or whatever award, the Bendera, one of the awards for the best defensive player. He won the award over Will Anderson, who played essentially every down, led the nation in sacks, and I think he was either first or second in tackles for loss. But what do I know? I just watch football.
Facts. But what you got for your top 5, man?
I'm going to dock some points from Kayvon Thibodeau and give him number 5, just because, yes, he is good at football, but he'll probably end up doing something stupid to get himself in trouble just because he has nothing in his brain. You don't want to play at Alabama because you don't want a national championship. You'd rather have an employment opportunity later in life. That's just stupid to me. Anybody that does it, that makes that, they rationalize their decision to not go to Alabama, just makes me think, oh, you're scared of competition. You might not play, and you don't like that. But he's number 5. He's good at football, but that's all he's good at.
Yeah. We've seen guys like him turn it around, though. He's just got to get the right people around him. But
he needs somebody to whip his ass.
Maybe.
And then what's his name? Trayvon Walker is going to be my number 4 for a lot of the reasons you stated. Just because he's 6'5", 6'5", runs a 4.5, whatever it was. In this day and age, with the mobile quarterbacks, you need that speed, you need that height. Like him playing against, the Josh Allens and Lamar Jacksons of the world, you can drop him in a spy. And since he got those long arms and he's 6'5", he can get his hands on passes. We saw that.
And he can move.
He can move. He can in the national championship game, Agiye Hall caught a pass out in the flat, broke a tackle, and was going down the sideline.
I love that play.
And he ran him down as a defensive end. So, outside
and he was on the line when he caught it. When Agiye caught the ball, he was on the line. 25 yards later, he caught him, which is crazy.
But yeah, he's making my list just because of the versatility he can bring. Just because in the NFL you need somebody that can keep a quarterback in the pocket, and then you can drop him into coverage as well.
I like it.
Number 3 is going to be Carloftus. Just like you said, he's a good football player. Yeah. He against the option, he just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He has a good nose for the ball. I saw a lot of times where they would fake the running back and he would kind of just shed the running back and pull the quarterback down.
Right.
But he's just and he also has a good bit of versatility as well. He would have his hand in the dirt. He'd be off the ball. They just moved him all around the line. So it's nice to have that ability at the next level. You can kind of go wherever they need you at.
And he's also got like that effort motor that Aiden has and Drake Jackson has, where he's just going to keep playing until the whistle blows. What I like about George Karloftis is the same reason I had Kenny Pickett. If you go back to that episode for the quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett came in at number 4 for me, I believe. But I couldn't put him too high because he's just a really good football player that does what he's supposed to do. Nothing crazy sticks out on tape, but you look at the tape, like I respect this guy's game. So I like him coming in at 3 for you.
And then number 2 is who's my number 2? Number 2 is Aiden Hutchinson.
My man.
Aiden Hutchinson, a lot like George Karloftis, just a little bit more athletic. But I like them both for the same reason. They're both just good football players. Aiden Hutchinson's a little more
he's longer.
He's longer. The measurables stack up more in his favor. And he's just a good football player. He doesn't get high effort guy, like you said. Just doesn't get fooled a lot with all the window dressing that you see in college football. There's not much of that in the NFL. We're starting to see more of it, but in college, honestly, in the Big Ten, you don't see a whole lot of it anyway.
No.
But but yeah, Aiden Hutchinson coming in number 2, and then number 1 is Jermaine Johnson, just because he is a monster, an athletic freak.
Man.
He's just fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to touch him. He's just he's explosive. He's slippery. He has a high motor. I saw on the tape I was watching, he rushes out wide and he beats his guy out wide, but the quarterback steps up in the pocket. So he literally just stops on a dime and comes back and nails the quarterback to still get the sack. He has a high motor, and that's really valuable at that speed with that athletic ability to also have a high motor. Sort of like I said for Trayvon Walker, with all these mobile quarterbacks that are in the league now, it's good to have that athletic specimen on the outside, long arms, tall, can move. That way you can keep them contained, drop into covers, knock some passes down. But yeah, bro, Jermaine Johnson is going to round out my top 5.
I really like it.
And we've already hit on Jordan Davis. I know a lot of people have him listed in their top 5. He's good at what he does. Absolutely. I just don't think that there's a call for it as much in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk too much more about Jordan, but I love Jermaine coming in at number 1. It was hard for me to not make him number 1 because of how good he is. And like I said, he's got that jump rush move that I just think that's just so sexy on a lineman. Like, not everybody can pull that off, dog. And like you said, him being able to stop on a dime, I talked a little bit about his juke, but he's got great vision. And if you take his brain and put it in Kayvon Thibodeau, Kayvon is the number 1 player in this draft, period. So I had to take Kayvon off the strength of just how good he looks at that position. Outside of that, I can't control what happens within his 2 years. But Jermaine Johnson coming in at number 1, I don't think is a wrong pick, bro. I like your top 5. So to round it out, you had at number 5, Trayvon Walker. Am I right about that? No, you had Kayvon at number 5. Trayvon Walker at number 4. George Carloftus at 3. Aiden at 2. And Jermaine Johnson at number 1 out of Florida State. I like your list, bro. I like your list. But I'm going to tell you something. If you think Jermaine's fast at that 4.58 he ran, just know Drake Johnson ran a 4.50, 4.5 flat at 250 pounds.
I did not see Drake Jackson. I'm going to look him up, and we can revise this if we need to. But USC just –
that's the thing. You don't expect that from USC.
But when we were kids, they were, like, dominant. They were the Alabama of the early 2000s.
Offensively.
They weren't hosed on defense. They weren't.
Nah, but have you ever, like, pass rushing out of USC? Like, I personally never seen just a great pass rusher coming out of USC. Like, a couple of guys that were good that were talked about, but nothing crazy, you know?
I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the Pac-12 anyway, so I don't really know a whole lot of pass rushers out of the Pac-12.
Nobody does. That's why I like him, though, because he's a sleeper. Nobody thinks USC, nobody thinks Pac-12 pass rush. They always think quarterbacks, receivers, and DBs. But this guy, without knowing anybody else on his line, was out there just messing stuff up, bro. Like, I love him. I'm gonna send you his tape, man.
You said you think about quarterbacks, wide receivers, and DBs out of the Pac-12. I don't think about any position out of the Pac-12. I think about people that work at Publix. But I digress.
I know good people that work at Publix, man. Why?
I do too, and they're probably hell of an athlete back in their day, in their 4 years. But bro, the Pac-12 don't have nothing for me, bud.
You ain't got nothing for me, bud.
They really don't, man. Nothing they bring to the table arouses me.
You need to get us a deal with Milo's, bro. Anyway,
that's
We'll speak it into existence.
I'm slick with it, bro. I hadn't said nothing about it. I've just been casually sipping it. One day they're gonna hit my line like, "Hey, man, appreciate the advertisement."
Yeah, for sure.
How about we keep that rolling in for life? I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Or just give me money.
I'm cool with the tea, bro.
Don't say that live.
Bro, I will die of diabetes tomorrow.
Okay. It's good stuff.
I'll inject that tea into my veins right now on the podcast.
So that'll be our special late night episode.
In the name of science.
Would you shoot it up cold or like kind of room temp?
Nah, cold, bro. It's got to be cold.
That's interesting. Because then it would take a while to hit. It's got to hit room. Like, bro, it's got to get to the body temperature.
Like, realistically, I would never do it. But then also I wonder, like, how fast would I die if I did it?
Only one way to figure it out.
That's the thing, bro. I want somebody. I don't know if I can say that. Somebody who's on their way out anyway.
Nope.
Just take one for the team. I'm curious and I need to know.
Okay. You're drifting away from what this episode was supposed to be.
Well, we've been there, done that. We're done with it.
Now it's the fun time.
That's right. The part everybody looks forward to. My brother was we were at Easter. My brother was like, "Yeah, I watched a couple episodes," and my brother cares nothing about sports. So it's like the first like 3/4 episode, I just had it on in the background. I just understood nothing about what you guys were talking about. But then at the end, it gets wild. I'm like, yeah, that's what we live for.
And that's when I turn it up. Well, again, this is primarily a sports podcast, but we're going to run out of, we got the playoffs going on. I don't want to do a playoff update on the draft episode. We'll do that later this week. So playoffs for the NBA, we'll have that. But after that, we're going to have a wacky summer. Y'all are going to see some new content. Say it again.
We are going to have a wacky summer because I'll be down to talk about
summer, man. Y'all are going to see some different content, different topics from us. Some of it's going to be sports related, we promise. But we also kind of want to get used to you guys watching us be us. And we want to develop that community. We love questions. We love involvement. I get a lot of questions through text. I get a lot of questions through calls and other platforms. Send it on YouTube. Ask questions in the comments. It's okay. Be a part of the community, man. We want to see you guys and shout you guys out on each episode for the questions you ask. So shoot those to us underneath.
Yeah, I don't get those. They hit you up. Nobody hits me up with questions. So if you do it on YouTube, I can also see it. And
which is bad.
Oh, damn, bro. Actually, I just remembered my number 5 guy kicking Kayvon Tempo out. Demetrius Dees, bro.
Really?
Demetrius Dees.
Okay. I'm gonna check him out.
Don't do that.
I'm like, who is that?
Dees nuts. My uncle at the Easter, he was like, "Hey man, I need you to put a Dees nuts joke on the podcast." And I was like, I'll get it. I'll get it in there. I almost forgot, but I remembered it just in the nick of time.
If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tricksters Podcast. We really appreciate the support and growing the community. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Spreaker. You can find us on Apple iTunes Podcast. You can find us pretty much anywhere a podcast can exist. Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere. If you have any comments, if you want to join the community, you can find us on Facebook as well. Yes, we are a little bit older. Old people do things on Facebook. That's okay. It's okay. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a page there for questions, involvement, anything there. Again, Instagram as well. I'm always posting to our story, posting reels before and after episodes that clip out good parts of what we do here at Tricksters Podcast. So, again, appreciate your support for watching. Catch you guys soon.